What is up, guys? Talking with Tonka, episode 15. I told you this was going to be a special one, and it is. Special co-host today, Curdy McGurdy Gibson. What's up, man? And then big ups, my boy DJ Nader. He's going to guest this week. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me on.
No problem. Faithful listener, so it was easy.
I've listened to, I can't say I listened to every episode, but I've listened to probably, I want to say like 50% of them. I was at the live podcast recording, so I'm very invested into the Talkin with Tonka podcast.
So is that what made you a faithful listener, seeing us in live, doing it live?
No, I mean, I'm going to support anything you put out, but it made it, easier to, like, you were doing the live podcast. I'm like, let's come in. And then you hit me up, I think it was either yesterday or 2 days ago.
Yeah,
and
Monday,
like, you want to be on the podcast? And I was like, I was waiting for this moment. It's like, yes.
So it's weird because I was doing my taxes this week, and
fun start.
Yeah, right. And I looked at my calendar who was going to be on the podcast this week. I'm like, oh shit, I never booked
nobody.
I never booked anybody because I messed up last week. I had Lowry booked and I had Fishtown Creative booked, and then Lowry's allergic to cats, so I was like, man, I don't feel like going mobile. You know what I mean? So let me see who's around and who's available. And you guys are the first people I hit up, so let's go. I love it.
Yeah, my availability is super, super easy.
During the week?
Oh, yeah.
And I appreciate you bringing the mixture for a Tonka tea, man.
Yeah,
cheers, guys.
I figured if I was coming to the Tonka residence, what kind of guest would I be if I didn't bring some Tonka teas with me? So.
Yeah, and I got something cool brewing with them and like a Stratus collab. It's
nice.
Sick for like a Sunday day party, like once a month.
That's perfect.
Yeah, we're working on it. There's a bartender over there, Pat. He's a pretty cool dude. He wants to bring another canned beverage in there, and I hooked him up with my boy at Stateside, so we're hoping to get it in there. If it gets in there, then
can confirm parties once a month are pretty decent.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, right. You're
I wasn't gonna plug
your poor decisions party, man. I'm mad I couldn't make it.
Plug.
Plug that, John.
It was such a great time, man. We talked about it before. We even had it. That first one was certainly like we didn't really do much a promotion.
Yeah,
but I feel like the first one that we did was enough talk to be like, oh, I'm definitely not gonna miss it.
Yeah,
it didn't hurt also that they combined their 1 year party with it, which was I think they technically opened St. Patrick's Day 2022, so I think that they just waited the time out. But just a mixture between, I felt as if the music, where you can't necessarily go just anywhere, it being on a Thursday, so probably being like one of the more like, oh, this is obviously the place to go.
Yeah.
And then also having Smooth like pretty much tell people like, hey, come with us.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think it was honestly, I hope that it continues, obviously.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But I think
I
think at the same time there was a perfect combination of a couple of different things that really made that go off. But again, between the pictures, thank you to Aaron Brazier,
who
took
gonna
all
say
the
that helps, man.
100%. So I think that just more or less is having a really good start was great, because I think it'll start to project as time goes on.
Yeah.
And again, where people are already having the talks, can we do it more often? This, that, the other thing. I think that's perfect, because I still want to just continue to keep it once a month to really get people to plan ahead for it. It's a must not miss. It's not where it's more or less is a way I think people would be like, oh, I have to go.
If you ever want a 2-hour pop punk set, let me know.
I mean, there might be a possibility, especially in the summertime. If people tend to be down the shore, I think they might get creative.
I want to do one in Sea Isle. I think that would really pop off down there.
Yeah, I mean, anywhere down the shore is probably going to be super popular.
I love that. So Nader, what's up, man?
Not much, man.
You're popping up so much now in my feed, DJing all over the place.
Are the SEO, the analytics, are they doing work? Good.
I guess, because I see you're playing everywhere that we're all playing now, which is I love to see. Because I met you in Atlantic City. I remember me and Eddie were doing a Sunday at Bally's Beach Bar. Was the first day I met you.
Yeah, so I think
I remember.
I know for a fact the first time I met you was at Bally's Beach Bar.
Yeah.
I was tagging along with Eddie. Little quick backstory. So when I first got into DJing, I was like 17, 18, and I'm like, hey, like I kind of want to give this a shot.
Right.
And I was listening on the radio to Wire 96.5 driving back from college, and it's the
Where'd you go to college?
Rider University up in like Ewing, Trenton area.
Yeah.
And I'm listening to just Wired on my way home, and it's like, you're in the mix with DJ 9, and I was like,
I know that drop.
I'm like, this guy's pretty good. I'm like, let me just like reach out to him and just kind of get this ball rolling.
Yeah.
So I tweet at him, and this is probably like 2014 Twitter at the time.
Ooh.
And I'm like, just listen to this said on the radio from, DJ9. I followed him that night, and I DM'd him, and I'm like, hey, like, I really want to give this a shot. Like, do you have any tips? And he got me going, man. Like, I'd listened to his throwback mixes that he had with Wired. I don't think they were in association with Wired. I think they were just his like throwback mixes.
Yeah.
And I would listen to him, and I'd be like, at the time, I had no library. I had nothing going on. So I would reach out to him, and I would send little timestamps. I'd be like, 1325. I'm like, what's that track? Then he would send it to me on Facebook Messenger. Like, immediately, I'm like,
he's always on his fucking computer.
I'm like, this guy's the man. So
very nice.
Fast forward to the first time I met you, I had a gig in Atlantic City at Harrah's. I had a room overnight. Yeah. And Eddie was in Atlantic City too, and he had that Bowie's Beach Bar gig super early in the morning.
Yeah.
And
it's funny because we both were in AC that night. Yeah, so three of us.
So I told Eddie, I was like, look, man, like I have a hotel room for the night. I have 2 beds, and like if you just want to crash here, I know the Beach Bar gig's early. I was like, I have no morning gig. I'll crash here and come with you to Bowie's Beach Bar.
Yeah,
and that's where I met you.
Yeah,
and I think the first time I met you, was it Bowie's or was it at Shenanigans?
I think our first time actually meeting certainly was Shenanigans.
I was going to say, it was Bowie's Beach Bar. It's the place where people come together.
It's it's funny.
It's a DJ meeting place.
It's because Shenanigans was definitely where him and I met. I think he just finished up a set. He introduced himself at the end of the night, and it was just like, hey, I like what you got going on, this, that, the other thing. And how many people have done that to you in your life? That, not to say that disrespectfully, like, oh, what's that? But you're always, oh, it's very nice to meet you, thank you, because you never know who can be who.
Yeah.
But again, and this is the same talk we had like right before we started recording, you can tell who's very interested, who will follow up, who's persistent without being annoying, and who is really interested in getting involved. And I think you begin to separate yourself in that way, and Nate did it a perfect way. Yeah. So again, he just said, hey, it's nice to meet you. I was just at so-and-so. Do you know so-and-so? Yeah. Like kind of, not just like I'm some random guy who DJs.
Yeah.
And again, not the same way name dropping. I think it's just more or less is like, hey, I kind of get what's going on.
Yeah.
I'm not just anybody.
Yeah.
So like I said, he was very respectful, came in, said hello.
Love that.
And then again, at the same time, a couple months later, it might have been even the same summer, am I wrong? That we had met again at Bowie's Beach Bar. That's when it might have been the following summer.
Yeah, I don't know if it was that summer exactly, but I saw your schedule, and then you were at Bowie's, and I think I was in Atlantic City. Was it the week during the DJ Expo?
Perfect timing, because I had tried telling them, like, if you remember back in like 2012 when we were all kind of getting together, they used to have like a DJ get together at the Beach Bar. I was telling the person that booked it at the time, like, hey, I think we should really get this together, this, that, the thing. And it was just getting to a point like where it was getting closer and closer, and nothing was coming of it. So I was just,
and that's when you were on Tuesdays, right?
Yeah, and it was just that Tuesday was going to be one of the bigger days. So I was like, you know what, I'll just invite whoever wanted to come out. Nobody really was interested in coming out, which is fine. But Nate was the one guy, and this goes back to what I was just saying, is like persistent without being annoying.
Yeah.
Only person that showed up, came to DJ for free, came to hang out and doing all this other stuff. So I think that he really separated himself, where I felt anyway at this point where you can tell like someone's different.
Yeah.
So again, did a really great job. He asked me a lot of questions. I don't think necessarily like he was unskilled. He was obviously very well off doing what he was already doing. But that was my introduction to him, where it was like, a little bit of luck, time meets preparation, and I'm going to mess that up. But I think he just introduced himself in a very good way, and I think that was kind of the beginning of our friendship, I could say.
That's what's up.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember like what year it was,
2018, I think,
or like why I was down there. But I think I was playing at HQ2 during the day. I think it was
the next day. Is what you told me.
I think it was like noon to 5, and then you started at Bowie's. Whatever it worked out, I was down there already, and I saw that you were there, and I was like, I got nothing going on. Like, let me swing by. So.
That's funny, because it's like, I feel like that's all like how our during the week works. I got nothing going on. I'll play golf. I'll do this, and I'll do that. So and that's funny. All three of us golf as well.
Yeah, so. I knew that was going to come up at some point.
Yeah, well, we're going to get to that. But since you said Eddie's pretty much how you started with your library. What was your first setup?
So I'll give you just like a brief introduction how I got started DJing. I guess that's kind of similar to how it all realms in. So I was like 17, 18 at the time. Always had a knack for music. In high school, I would rap a little bit. Like I was always into music.
Okay, you can't say you were a rapper and then not drop a verse.
What do you do? Have to give me a beat or something. I mean, I'm a DJ.
I'll get Eddie on the on FaceTime. He'll do it.
Is there any like old YouTube links or anything up that
you could probably find a rap on YouTube.
All right, we'll do that. We'll let it slide.
Yeah, I know one still exists up there.
Okay.
Love that.
But I was always into music. I first started kind of learning how to DJ with virtual DJ. I would go on YouTube. I would find an instrumental. I would find an acapella, studio acapella if I could find it. Pretty much whatever they had on YouTube at the time is like what I got to make these mashups. And I would go on virtual DJ. I would like start an instrumental, and then when it came time to drop the acapella in, I would drop it, and the whole time I would be recording. And if I was off, I had to restart the whole thing over again because I didn't have any equipment. So I was like, I have to perfectly time this, and then I have to sit here for 2.5 minutes and make sure that these beat grids are on, the same line, all lined up. And that was like my first, I would say, setup. I know that's not like equipment wise, but that was how I kind of learned how to beat match and everything. Fast forward to my first actual setup. My dad was planning a surprise 50th birthday party for my mom.
Okay.
And he knew I was always into music, and he was like, hey, what do you think about just, instead of renting a DJ, I'll just buy you some equipment and you can use it for the gig and, run with it if you want to kind of get into this. And I was like, that's awesome. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. How can I say no to that?
Sure, Daddy.
Absolutely. So my first actual setup was two 15-inch Harbinger speakers from Guitar Center, which are just, now I know, just not good.
Not good, no.
And I had a Newmark Mixtrack Pro 2.
Love that.
Great entry-level controller.
They were the first spinning ones, right? They spun. The platter spun?
You're thinking of the NS7?
Oh, okay.
That was. I can visually see exactly.
I think it's the NX or NS7 is the movable turntables, but no, this was just like a 2-channel. It was like $200. I think my whole initial cost was like $600.
Damn, Pop Dukes pulled out for you.
And that's like kind of what you'd spend on a DJ for like a private event. So my first gig was for my mom's 50th surprise birthday party. I was living I guess I was home at the time, and do you remember those CD racks where you had all of them in there?
Yeah.
I went in there and I took, the 71 disc, the 72 disc, the 73 disc, and I burned them all onto my laptop because I know what kind of music my mom likes. It was all oldies and stuff. So, started building my library there, and that was my first DJ gig, my mom's 50th birthday party.
Damn, Mom Deuce got him started.
Yeah.
Mom and Dad, actually.
And from there, I just ran with it.
Love that, dude.
I loved it. I started working with an entertainment company. I took the money that I made, and I put it back into myself and got rid of those Harbingers. I got rid of that Newmark and got a Pioneer mixer. And from there, it's just taken off,
Yeah. Like I said, you're popping up all over my feed now.
Thank you.
Wicked Wolf, Barstool. I think you play that Hoboken spot we all play. Well, I only played once, but won't get into that.
Good old 10th and Willow. Shout out 10th and Willow.
Yeah. So we all have that introductory story, right, where we all start. And I think one of my first gigs was a family party as well, and it was like, I didn't really have an extensive library at the time. I just had
neither
what
did I.
Yeah, I had the bar book from Tiki Bob, so I'm just playing whatever I could think of, And I still remember seeing these pictures, made me cringe because I was on a CD player, stackable one where it was the players were up here, but your CD drive was down here. You know what I'm talking about? The rack mount.
Exactly what you're talking about.
Yep. No, there's no scratching, nothing. It's literally these analog things. It's it was prehistoric, you know what I mean? And when I was working at Tiki Bob's, I was unplugging stuff and plugging it into my Serato, trying to figure that out. And I was using Serato with a rack mount when it first came out. Wow. Yeah, it was I had to really jerry rig it to get it to work, but man, was that easier than pulling out CDs because oh, this sucks. I was that oh man, before computers. Oh.
That's the part of DJing that I really never got to experience.
Yeah, you're not missing nothing.
In today's day and age, it's very, some would say easy to become a DJ. Anybody can go to Guitar Center or go on Sweetwater and buy a, $300 controller or whatnot.
Yeah, for sure.
But, part of me wishes that I started DJing a lot earlier. I wish I DJ'd during the 80s. I wish I DJ'd during the 90s.
There was a video that I saw pop up. I think it was a Jazzy Jeff video. He's like, what era of DJing what club would you want to DJ at now that's not open anymore? Everybody said Club 54.
Yeah, that's
like the disco era.
That seems obvious though.
That must have been so much fun back then.
I think that was actually probably. What year was that, if you don't mind me asking? I can't remember, if I'm being honest.
70s.
Was it the 70s or so?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think... have you guys ever watched the documentary Limelight? It's about...
No.
You should... Limelight. Yeah, you should definitely listen to it if you're checking it out. You could probably find it on Amazon Prime. It used to be on Netflix. This is, pre-COVID is when I watched it.
Yeah.
But it goes down the line of, really where nightclubs opened up and, how it progressively... It's one gentleman in particular, and I'm going to mess up his name. I can't remember. But he was basically the godfather of all of these really well-off nightclubs.
Really?
And the first one was pretty much, the equivalent of Studio 54. I can't remember if he's anybody with Valve. I don't believe so. But I think it was 2 nightclubs in general. The first one being in the late 80s, early 90s.
Right.
And then the second one, or maybe the first one, was in a church. They had reconverted and everything.
Love that.
But it was... The second one was more hip-hop driven. So the first one was more dance-driven, and the second one was more hip-hop driven, where they were getting hip. And they were coming down on this guy about drug charges when he was stone cold sober. It was obvious that he was really erupting. So I don't want to ruin any of it for you guys, but 100%, if you get the opportunity, Limelight is definitely one of the better ones. Somebody recommended it to me in 2014, 13 or something, and I watched it immediately.
So I don't think we talked about it on your episode, Kurt, but what was your first setup?
I think we... I'm not sure if we talked about it. I think it might have been brief. It was definitely this Newmark CD rack. It was you can plug 2 CDs in, and then you can technically mix the songs if you wanted to.
Okay.
And I used to just record basically whatever it was that I was doing, which was probably garbage to begin with.
Yeah.
But I couldn't afford Serato. Now, Serato had already been out. It was the new thing.
Yeah.
The Serato boxes were pretty much whatever. It was 1 and 2. 2 had just came out and 1 was already standard.
Yeah,
which 1 pretty much stayed standard until 4, right?
Yeah, I still have my 1 box.
Oh, wow.
Actually, no. You know who has my box that I want to get it back? Patrice.
Oh, wow.
He still has it. I let him borrow it once.
No.
And it was I don't think I'm ever getting that thing back.
Now they discontinue. You can't connect the.
I know. I just want it for nostalgic purpose.
Oh, 100%.
I still have my 56, my 57, my 62. I have all my mixers.
You have no reason to get rid of that stuff, though.
No.
It's timeless.
Yeah. I'm like Kurt. I like to hoard equipment.
I still have my Newmark Mix Track Pro 2.
Good.
And honestly, one of these days, I think I'm gonna frame it and put it in a shadow box. That's where I started right there.
Yeah,
and
I love that, dude.
Down the line, that's a good piece to have. I don't know how long I'm gonna be DJing for. I don't see myself stopping anytime soon.
Yeah,
but that's to have that piece of equipment that you first started on is that's pretty cool to have with you, just as a piece in your home or something.
Yeah, facts. Yeah, I mean it's funny. Shout out, rest in peace, Chris Perry. I have his CDJs.
I think we talked about that.
Yeah. You don't know Chris Nader, but that's something I never want to get rid of because they were his. You know what I mean? So I was he was a friend of ours. He passed away. So I feel I have to keep him now. You know what I mean? It's like a homage to him.
Absolutely.
Right
Back in 2012, 13, 14, we used to be a part of this big group that we'd get together, which I still think we should probably still start to begin to do. I would really love to do that. But Chris was kind of the centerpiece of things where he was mutual in the sense that funny guy. He'd literally come dressed up like a clown.
Yeah.
He used to have rubber chickens. He literally got Sean Paul to hold it on stage. It was hilarious, dude.
Yeah, I love when he used to dress up as the old guy with the walker.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He used to dress up the old guy with the walker.
100%. And he'd go to the strip club and he'd have pictures of. I mean, the guy was just Patch Adams, it was a better, you know what I mean, better way to really think
example.
of it. Yeah,
perfect. Example.
He was just trying to be the smiling, example of everything. Anytime
and
there
he was
be
a
problem.
teacher during the day. He didn't need a DJ, but he did because he loved it, And he used to DJ all over too.
I can't say he definitely lost contact with me during COVID, but I think everyone kind of fell out at that time, and then that's when I kind of heard about everything. At the time. Just before that, he was going to and from Puerto Rico. Yeah. Because I think he was saying, and again, maybe it was Dominican Republic, but it was one of those countries where he was literally thinking of going and just staying there. And we were don't leave, blah, blah, blah. But I don't know if he was telling people that he was experiencing issues or whatever, his hospitalization was. But I had found out after everything was over. I was oh my God, that's such a hit in terms of our industry. If you knew the guy, he was 100% like just for everyone.
You tell girls all the time that your smile will light up a room. Well, he was the person that would light up a room. Like,
yeah, I'm not familiar with him. I never had the.
He used to bring blow up dolls to parties that you could sign and stuff.
Yeah, dude, he was nuts,
so
man.
funny.
Yeah, he was really nice.
Great dude.
So that's why I think we should have meetups, because people like that come into the group. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And I feel like now that all three of us, we're part of Smooth Event Group, so it's like I feel like as that group gets bigger, I feel like we should have some stuff like that, especially.
He's listening. He knows what we want to do.
No, Smooth is not a faithful listener. You know, it's a shame. He was telling me last night. He's like, "Oh, I gotta catch up. I gotta catch up." You ain't catching up, bro.
We faithfully listened when we were in Tampa. We listened. Yeah. Me and Smooth listened to the Montone episode in our Airbnb room.
Yeah. It's what he doesn't know yet. I don't think I told him, but because I'll be down the shore most weeks. It's season 2 of Talkin with Tonka. It's gonna be Talkin with Tonka on the bay. It's gonna be recorded outside on my deck. We're gonna be sitting in lounge chairs and
nice.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool. I have this idea where I haven't met my housemates yet. Nikki from Barstool, Big Nick, is one of our roommates.
So, yeah.
So I'm thinking of having each week a guest. The guest co-host is someone that lives in my house, and I'm gonna spring it on them last minute. They're hungover or whatever. I'm just gonna spring it on them, and they're gonna.
You should bring them on like after a night. Is it in Sea Isle?
Yeah,
the house?
Yeah.
Smooth was trying to get me to get in.
Should have did it,
house,
man. Telling you, once you
I don't know, man. I don't like I'm talking like to him, and I'm trying to think about like logistically does it make sense, and like I have Sea Isle gigs that I have booked for the summer.
Yeah.
And I have Atlantic City gigs that I'm booked for the summer, and I'm down the shore, but I'm just like trying to think like, am I going to utilize it that much? Like, I know all you guys are down there, and it'll be a blast.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I'm still thinking about it.
It's going to be a lot of hungover nights. I could see it already.
But you should interview them after a night of drinking.
So
you should get them when they're drunk.
Season 2 is going to be interesting. Now that I'm kind of comfortable now talking to people, I feel like it's getting a lot easier and a lot easier to.
The more you do it,
yeah. Absolutely. So I'm like, I think I don't know. I think about. I don't know the complete direction I want to go, and I'm still going to have guests like you guys on. Like, I'm definitely going to season 2. I'm bringing a lot of people back from season 1 and see how this last year progressed for you and those kind of things. And I want to see, especially with your party, like how that's progressing and stuff like that. I'll catch up with people. You know what I mean? Because that's pretty much what this is kind of about. You know what I mean? Because like I see you guys all the time, but we don't get to hang out.
Yeah,
right. And talk,
and other people don't get to hear what kind of our conversations are like.
Exactly.
And
like that's why I have other people that aren't in the industry on. Like I had Fishtown Creative last week.
Great episode, by the way.
Thank you. Pancakes, Protein Shakes was on the week before that. He's a food blogger from Philly and like goes to small businesses and like blows them up. It's crazy what he does. He's actually getting me an interview with Pizza John.
Nice.
They're opening up a bar called Bar John here in Manioc too.
Cool.
Yeah, so he's going to announce it live on my show. Actually, I guess I just kind of blew it for him. Whoops.
Sorry, dude. We'll bleep that part out.
Yeah, no. So that's funny. Last week I was talking about illegal gambling, and I was like, I should probably delete this, and I had to. I was like, because I was saying some stuff that I probably shouldn't have said. So I was like, I don't usually edit my podcast, but that I kind of had to because I was name dropping and stuff. But that's neither here or there. So Nader. So what's it like seeing your progression from the mix track to now DJing, say, prime time at Wicked Wolf?
It's been a hell of a ride. I'm super blessed to still be DJing after like 8 or 9 years now. I think, as a DJ, it's a good goal to try to not become stagnant within a market where you're only playing this spot on Friday and this spot on Saturday. I can confidently say that every single year that I've been a DJ, that I have been given opportunities to play at better venues, better pay, playing in different spots down the shore. It's truly a blessing to still be working in this industry and playing at these new venues as they pop up, as time progresses.
So when you say stagnant, do you mean like having the same residency Friday, Saturday?
I'm not necessarily. I'm definitely pro residency and having those gigs that you constantly have. But I would say, instead of just playing at the spot in Philly on Friday and this spot in Atlantic City on Saturday, and those are the gigs I got, more so being flexible and playing at all these different venues. And, let's say, a new spot opens up in Philly, 2 months from now, being able to play in there is assuring for a DJ to know, like, I'm getting these opportunities. I'm not playing at these same bars all the time. I'm not seeing these same patrons. I'm not seeing these same bartenders. I'm able to travel and play at all these different places.
Right.
And, it's kind of came full circle. As me being a DJ, I had a DJ bucket list of things that I wanted to do before I could die a happy DJ.
Yeah.
And items on that list were New York, California, Vegas, Florida, a gig outside of the United States. And, I can confidently say that I've knocked some of those off of my bucket list. I played in Anaheim, California in 2017 at a hotel bar at the Hilton, and it was popping.
Yeah.
One of the guys from NWA were there.
Nice.
He gave me a shout out on the microphone. Arabian Prince. Said, shout out NATO on the ones and twos. Just through linking up with Smooth, I traveled down to Tampa, Florida, and St. Petersburg, and we played 2 spots down there. And I can, check off Florida as a place.
Yeah.
Shout out 5 Day Forecast.
Yeah, he said he's going to bring me down, too.
Yep.
So I can't wait for that.
5 Days a great dude.
And then, the only 2 spots left on my bucket list are a gig in Vegas and a gig outside of the United States.
Vegas is dope, man. I played there a couple times. It's sick. Shout out Sat One. If that wouldn't the gigs I get out there wouldn't have been possible if it wasn't for him. He did like a West Coast tour. I had this brief stint at Dust Nightclub where I was the opener for like 3 years, and then I would go upstairs, play 21 bar at the time.
I played there before. I don't know if it shut down, but I definitely got a chance.
Yeah,
to play there. It wasn't as exciting, probably.
Yeah, I was playing Dust on Tuesday nights, and Saturday nights, prime time, and it's like I just started DJing like 5 years, playing these big rooms, getting these opportunities, and I got there, but winning a DJ battle, I got to open up for Sat One on a Tuesday night at Dust, which is like epic, right? So I did that. I'll never forget that. I can't wait to have him on the podcast because
you got to get Sat on.
Yeah, maybe I won't spoil that story, so I won't spoil that.
I think you did tell it during mine.
Did I?
I didn't want. I'm not going to ruin it. So
I won't. So shout out to Sat. He took me on his West Coast tour, and I was kind of like his just travel buddy. You know what I mean? Because he's going to these different cities. He let me play a couple spots.
When was this?
Oh, God.
13, 12, 11,
9 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So about that. Yeah. I remember that briefly because I knew of you, but our paths never crossed at the time.
So I was like playing in I was opening for him in like Tempe and stuff, Arizona, and then he took me with him. We did a whole West Coast run, and I got to meet DJ Direct. You probably met him.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I know Direct.
Super cool dude.
Yeah.
We hit it off right away. He's a ball buster. I'm a ball buster. Sat's a ball buster. We all just got really close, and I
make sure. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but just so I don't forget, make sure you ask Sat what happened to him at Dreas last time.
I know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
all right.
I'm bringing that story up. That story is epic.
Yeah.
I won't.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. I just figured
it's funny. I actually got a call Direct. He usually calls me. I'm terrible at that, man. Calling and check up on people. I'm terrible at that. And that's something I wanted to get better in 2023 is calling and checking up on people. He would call me every couple of weeks to make sure I'm still alive.
Yeah, of course.
And so me and him hit it off, and he invited me out to play, just me. Scared shitless, man, but I went, murdered it, and then I was supposed to go back right before COVID hit and ruin that whole.
Hate that.
Yeah. So I got to play at Dre's After Hours, which is he tried me out all different times, killed every one of my sets. Loved it, bro. It was the coolest experience. If you ever get a chance, definitely go.
What was the vibe there? Is it all hip hop?
It's at Dre's After Hours. It's all hip hop.
Okay.
But what he likes to do is sometimes bring in the East Coast guy to play some East Coast hip hop because they're all used to YG and these West Coast cats. You know what I mean?
Bitch, who do you love?
Yeah, Bay Area hip hop, and I like Bay Area hip hop. Don't get me wrong, BBT was big when I was out there, and I'll never forget. He's like, "Yo, play BPT," and I'm like, "What? I don't even know if I have it."
I don't even know who that is.
I want to say it's YG. It's Black People Time is what it means. But bro, he would shut it off, and people would be like, BBT. I was like, "Holy shit!" And he sends me music, so he knew I had it. You know what I mean? So he's like, yo, play a beat like that. I was like, I don't think I have it. And he's like, I type it in. I was like, oh shit, I have it. You know what I mean? Because when he sends me so much music, and I just dump it, and I get to it when I get to it, you know? So I play it, kill it. I was like, oh my God, I'm playing this song when I get back to Philly. No one knew it.
Yeah. It's a West Coast Dreams and Nightmares.
Yeah. So I was playing Vesper, and I played it, and like only a couple people knew what it was. I was like, oh God, Bomb City. But if you ever get a chance to go out there and play, even if it's like a hotel bar, they all pop, bro.
Dude, like, I will play in the line for the bathroom in Vegas,
bro.
Like I've never been to Vegas.
Yeah,
and
me
being a DJ and a gambler, like, and the fact that I've never been to Vegas is a damn sin.
Yeah.
So I went out there. I need to do that
as a non-DJ trip, like twice. One for Scooter's bachelor party, and I went out there for the Eagles Raiders game 2019. I went.
Nice.
But when I was out there DJing, I DJed on Fremont Street at a casino, and you're literally you're on the casino floor above the slot machines, and it's like a circle DJ booth, like so no one can like see your like legs behind you or something, you know. But you walk up in the middle of like slot machines. There's like a door. You open up, you walk up in the middle of slot machines, and you're like on display, DJing. I forget what this casino was called. Downtown Grand. That's what it's called. Just came to me, and I'm DJing for the like, you know. So you're playing like everything, 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever. Michael Jackson set was heavy that day, and it was such a cool experience because you have all ages, and people are just coming in like with their big, you know, drink bucket things and like just having a good time. People were actually dancing. And when I came off, the casino manager came up. He's like, yo, no one ever dances here. He's like, that was a good set. And I was like, thanks, man. I'm from Philly. I'm just, you know, just enjoying myself. He's like, maybe that's what it is, you know, because like it's a different flavor, you know what I mean, the way we DJ. And so I know, Kurt, you've been out of town, and now you have been out of town with, you know, other places. So have you noticed that, hearing other DJs in other cities, is the differences between Philly DJs and, say, where have you played besides Florida?
Arizona.
Mm-hmm. And you're just Florida?
I'd say, yeah. I mean, I like I said, I DJed in California once, and I've DJed in Florida once.
Did you ever go out in California? Like to a club to hear a DJ play?
No.
Okay.
Unfortunately not.
All right. Have you been in another city where you heard another DJ play? So you can chime in on this conversation is why I ask.
I mean, honestly, not too much.
No?
Like with me, like, and even with like some venues in Philly, like I try to, like, with my schedule, like I like to be booked on a Friday and Saturday.
Okay.
And you know, the venues and the places that I've been in Philly, you know, are really the venues that like I play at. Okay. You know, on my nights off, you know, for any like young aspiring DJs that want to get into it, I highly suggest going out and checking out these places that
we'll get to that. Yeah.
Want to play in. With me, you know, I would say, you know, there's some spots in Philly that I haven't stepped foot in there because I you know, I'm not just going to go alone.
Yeah.
And, you know, it kind of has to be like if one of my DJ friends is playing there and I have a night off, you know, I'll be there. You know, for instance, I've never been to Roar in Philly. I've never been to JJ Bootleggers.
Bootleggers is awesome.
The first time I was at Pace and Blossom was probably like 3-4 months ago.
Yeah. Is that where we all went after that Smooth?
Yep. Yeah. That was my first time there. Mm-hmm. So I guess circling back to your question where you're saying if
so when you were in Florida with Smooth, you didn't hear. I guess you kind of heard an opener play.
You're saying like the style and the genres that they play.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. I mean, as you were just saying, what was that? BBT. What was it?
BPT.
So I think like different types of music and genres resonate in different types of cities. So for instance, when Smooth and I went down to Tampa, you know, I got to play with Smooth at a place called Crafty Squirrel, and it was big top 40 venue. You know, they like, you know, EDM music, the whole nine. And then the second night, Smooth was booked at Tangra nightclub, and shout out to DJ Grody who was there. He opened for Smooth. I was just tagging along, and you know, Grody was giving us some tips on like what people down here like to listen to, and he was playing a lot of, you know, Latin music. And you know, I think when you DJ down in Florida, when you get to those, you know, those Miami spots, you know, they like, you know, that Latin music, they like that Bad Bunny, you know, all that types of stuff. So you know, I would say, you know, definitely artists and genres of music definitely resonates in some cities better than
other
places.
That. So, Kurt, I'll throw it to you.
The one time
you've been in Florida and Arizona playing.
Yeah, so definitely, I probably should have spent more time an extra day before and after to be able to meet people, because the day that I got to Arizona, I did a happy hour and then I had time at night. So I was like, if you've ever been to Scottsdale, there's like a strip of bars, like 5-10 of them or whatever it might be. Mm-hmm. As soon as I was done at 10 o'clock, I literally ran to them, and I was basically going from bar to bar doing my best like speed dating. Nice to meet you. I have 10 minutes. I have to go to the next one before all of the bars closed. So I was going from bar to bar, and just introducing myself. It was a different experience each time. Most of, at least the places I could, if you wanted to rank them, we probably could. But it was like it was going from hip hop to all house to this, that, the other thing, and each one had a completely different feel. So if you get an opportunity, if you've never been to Scottsdale, I'm sure a lot of us, maybe listening, somebody's going to a bachelorette party. It was really nice because I met one guy who was from Hoboken, Jersey City. I recognized him, didn't know me though, but afterwards we exchanged information, and nothing's really come of it. But it's another person, kind of to acquaintance. Oh, nice to see you, whatever it might be. I went to another place. Guy was probably one of the best DJs that I had heard when I was over there. Didn't really talk to me, this, that, the other thing, but I was like, hey, it's nice to meet you. I didn't want to hit him with the IDJ too. I just messaged him just saying like, hey, did a really great job. Not trying to bother you or do anything. Didn't ask him for anything, whatever it might be.
Did they ever hit you back?
No.
You're in that request folder just chilling.
Yeah, probably. I think he might have just liked it and just said like, hey, thank you for coming out, but I don't think anything really came of it.
Gotcha.
Actually, big shout out to Cutswell. He was the one guy that, him and I knew each other on Twitter. It was like mutual following, whatever. Yeah. And he recognized me, which was very, like, I don't want to say, like, oh, I get recognized, this, that, the other thing, but it was nice to be in an area where I've never been.
I want to say I met him through SAT, actually.
Yeah, Cutswell's, he was still on Scratch Live.
Yeah.
It was definitely the place to be at El Jefe, where he was at. It was probably the one place that I stayed an extra 10, 20, 15 minutes. But he was like, hey, stick around. He's like, have a drink, this, that, the third. But it was, somewhat similar to the music of what we would normally play.
Okay.
So I didn't feel too out of touch with everything. I think what I was really trying to look for, especially because Saturday night at Barstool was going to be the clear like winner in terms of like where they're going to do, it was going to be where I get the he did a great job or he didn't. I wanted to understand like what was really popping at 12:30, 1 o'clock, and everyone had told me, at least the DJ that was DJing before and after me were like, you definitely have to go to El Jefe. So I was like, okay, whatever they play at midnight is probably what's really going on in this area. So when I was listening to him, it was the Peppas. It was the, the stuff that we're talking about, 6-7 months ago. So whatever was popping at that time, I was like, all right, well, I'm just going to play what I normally play at Wicked, at Barstool, whatever it might be, and I'm going to add a little bit of flavor. But like Nate was saying just a second ago, like you don't get a second chance when you're traveling. So if you're doing a one-night stay and you don't know to play Latin, you're not going to get another chance. Whereas like if we play a Barstool or Wicked here, we kind of know the vibe, and then going in, you can really improve on the set. Yeah. So I think going forward, if I plan to travel, I'm definitely taking an additional day to make sure that I meet these people, talk, say hello. So that way, if I go into the nightclub the next time, I'm able to like already have some sort of an established relationship.
So Direct kind of gave me because I was playing Minneapolis and I was terrified, and I was like, oh man, am I going to play Prince the whole time? So they hated Prince. Don't ever go play Prince when you're out there. They hated it.
I think the only Prince track I ever play is Kiss.
Yeah. Oh no, he got a deep dive, man. He's got Raspberry Beret. He's got
great song.
Yeah, he's got a bunch.
Data Beloved. Controversy.
Yeah, he's got some.
Just Want to Be Your Lover.
Yeah,
great song.
Another good one. He's got a bunch of bangers, but he was like, go on. What is it at the time? iHeart Radio on the app, and just type in Minneapolis radio and just see what comes up, and like look at these spots, like look at the top 40 station, look at the hip hop station, look at the Latin stations, and just see what there is in their rotation and kind of just get a feel for what they like. You know what I mean? And then, at that time, Eddie was tied in with the radio station. I'm like, yo, hit me with Bonix because I want to see what's being played on the radio out there on his station, and he kind of told me the same thing. So it was like iHeartRadio went to the popular stations, looked at the top 10 tracks, and that's kind of how I got through the night, if I'm not being honest.
That's great.
But you know what they told me the last hour? yo, you're killing it, but let's hear some Philly shit, bro. So I was like, all right.
That's super refreshing to hear, too.
Yeah, they wanted to hear Meek, man. That's all. Not cool. Dreams and Nightmares, though.
Well, love to hear that.
Yeah, they wanted me to dive. And I'm like, no problem, bro.
You can get some Meek songs and go deep. With some old Meek, let that shit burn. Like, there's a lot of songs like Meek Mill has that never see club play. And it's because I feel like a lot of DJs are kind of afraid to step out of what's the norm is of working.
I remember, what's that song? I think it's Glow Up.
Yep. Yeah, Glow Up 2016 album. DC4.
I put. Damn. Okay.
Glow Up's a banger.
I listened to Meek before he became Meek. Yeah. There was a lot of Reed Dollars. There was I'm messing up his name. Jay something. I can't remember. Somebody's probably screaming through their phone right now.
Yeah.
But I used to listen to straight acapella, and I went to hip hop with. I wouldn't say with some of these guys that actually rap, but it was clear at that time this is what people listen to.
Right.
So I was listening to YouTube stuff, like this, that, the other thing, and Meek was one of them guys that came through. So when you would see the YouTube clips of everything, and then people knew him. I guess I don't want to say I watched him go up because I don't know the guy or anything like that. Yeah. But it was very cool. Whereas I think a lot of people just seen him from meeting Nicki Minaj and this.
When he was in his yellow Lambo truck.
But I think I just get the understanding of the relationship. Listening to a lot of the people in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
We listened to a lot of his early stuff. So I'm sure that you probably know that Rose Red was one of the. That was actually a remix. It's actually Make 'Em Say is the original one, and I know that Joey Katz was telling me at the time when he played Make 'Em Say. When it gets to the part where it's a white girl like Ryan used to be one of the managers, I think, of the hotel. This is before, way before my time. But it was, really fun to see, somebody who was clearly kind of coming up. And then I think by the time Nicki Minaj, him, and it was just, pretty much over.
I played Glow Up at Vesper Northern Liberties on New Year's Eve one night, when that song first came
2016.
out. Had my long hair back then. You knew me back then.
Yep.
And I never forget, I played it. No one fucking knew it. And I was like,
it's tough.
God. Oh, God. I had one of those moments.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about that, the oh shit moment.
Mm-hmm. It's super tough as a DJ to take those risks and play those tracks.
Right. But I do it. I've been playing a lot of punk in my sets, and that's getting scary.
I think what sets a lot of DJs apart from, other DJs is stepping out of the comfort zone and playing something that they don't hear every single Friday, Saturday night at these places that they go to. Mm-hmm. I like to take a lot of approaches kind of outside in music and incorporate them into my sets. And, it's refreshing. It's, you're not hearing the same, Lil Wayne, Uproar, T.I., Bring 'Em Out, Travis Porter, A-Ladies, that's a hip hop set. But, dig a little deeper, play that Baby Boy the Prince, This Is the Way I Live. It's those
good song.
It's those tracks that, when I was in middle school on my way to the bus, I was in the bus listening to the most ghetto hip hop ever right before I learned, Division. Those are the tracks that resonated with me when I was young. So I try to take that experience of, what was on my iPod Touch, what was on my iPod Nano when I was
I'm gonna throw it back for you. I had my CD Walkman.
We all had it
in technology class in high school, listening to Eminem's underground albums.
Only the actual album I had on my MP3 player was, I think, Linkin Park's Numb album.
Ooh, it was good album too.
It was so tough to get music on those things back in the day. You could get it off LimeWire or whatever, and then you had to
BearShare.
I can't even remember. You had to have a.
Remember BearShare?
Yes,
I remember BearShare. Yeah. Was this BearShare, LimeWire, FrostWire, Napster? Really never saw the light of day. You couldn't download off Napster.
No, Napster got weird. It was in the beginning. It was kind of cool, but. So let's go back to my original question. Have you had so I had an oh shit moment with Glow Up. What do you remember your first oh shit moment when you dropped a song and no one liked it?
I probably shouldn't have played that.
Yeah.
I mean,
have you ever?
You haven't been DJing long enough if you don't have an oh shit moment of tracks.
That's what I'm saying. Everybody remembers their first oh shit moment. That was one of my first oh shit moments, and I was DJing already for 8-10 years. So there's probably been other ones, but I remember that one specifically because it's packed. It's New Year's Eve. It's mobbed. You can't move. And I dropped Glow Up, and people are like, I'm like, oh, fuck. And I'm like going off. I'm like, yeah, this is my shit. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh God, no one's moving. And I'm like, quick searching for another. What's that? Like 72 beats per minute. That song. And I'm like trying to find another song real quick. And I'm like, eventually, I find one and then play something else. But
I'm trying to think of one specific song or a moment where it's like I probably shouldn't have played that record. I'm gonna have to think on it. But I think
all right, let's flip it to Kurt. And while you think about it,
I'm gonna fully commit. Like if I think something might work, like I'm gonna be a little bit. I think we talked about this last time. I'm gonna be a little bit of me every little set. Again, we're not gonna get an hour of me, but 10 minutes usually at the end of the night or somewhere in between. Then I'm like, oh man, I haven't played this in a while. I will absolutely give it a shot. Maybe a quick hitter or a short edit or something of that nature. I don't think that there's anything. There's definitely been times where I'm like, that didn't hit like I thought it was going to be. I don't think there was anything outside of someone being controversial, like when DaBaby had that whole thing. Yeah, I didn't know that the night of, and like I dropped Suge the night of, and I was like, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh,
I still play that record.
Look, I do too, but that's what I'm saying. Is like at that time, like kind of records and like music and
what's funny is I think the only controversial song that you play with him is that one he's with the chick. What song is that? That he's in the beginning of that. Scooter made the DaBaby verse first. What is
Levitating?
That? Levitating, right. I think that was the controversial. Yeah, that's the controversial song. I think you can play Suge and you're good.
I think just more or less is like the whole controversy with him and like whatever had happened on stage. Yeah, what he had say. Yeah. People were just like kind of out on him. I don't think anybody really necessarily canceled him. I think they just stopped really like they kind of made
it's like, can you play R. Kelly now?
I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. If somebody I get people that request it. Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. I think everyone's going to be a little bit different. I'm not someone who really is going to be someone who pushes the cancel culture of like music in general. I think everyone should be necessarily heard. Everyone's going to have a different view on that. I still play Kanye albums. Yeah. I'm able to separate.
I took off Kanye for like 3 weeks.
Yeah, I think.
I saw his apology. I'm like, all right, I'm good now.
Everyone's moral compass is going to be completely different. So again, I'm not obviously if it's a private event, they ask me not to play it. Of course, I'm not going to play it. But there are some times where I'm like, man, I would just love to hear this song or whatever it might be. St. Pablo was huge in 2016. I used to play a lot of that stuff. But like I said, I think I always play a little bit of B-side Meek everywhere I go just to kind of learn the room, and someone will always come up to me and be like, yo, I haven't heard this song in a minute, whether it's pulling some shell tops, some levels, Rico, the original one, Juice with him on the 2015 album. There's a lot of stuff. I think that if you just sprinkle in the way that you'd be able to, get it enough to where it's the most recognizable part and get in and out, you can.
I kind of get what you're saying, just because. Remember that song? I think it's Kika by 6ix9ine and Tory Lanez.
I play that all the time.
So
So
I play Tory Lanez' verse. I don't play. It's very rare that I play 6ix9ine's verse.
Just the chorus really is what I got into.
The 6ix9ine verse is just like him screaming.
Yeah, he goes in too hard. So I actually made an edit where it stops at that. So it's like shorter.
Perfect.
It's like short edit. So I know.
You send it to me.
Yeah.
I usually I'm really struggling getting him out because he overlaps on that first beat.
So like. Am I the only one that has an oh shit moment that they remember?
I mean, give it to us.
So like you asked me, and like there's no like one specific moment that I can think about. I don't think you're taking risks as a DJ if you don't have those oh shit moments. Yeah. I've probably had so many of them that I can't pinpoint that one that I'm like, oh yeah, I played Dancing Queen and like they hated it. I mean, like for instance, I did a junior prom for Shawnee High School probably like 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
And DJing for that age group is very difficult because they have a very short attention span. Yep. They want 30 to 40 seconds of a song, and then they want, out. Give me like the next song. So for instance, for a gig like that, they like all new hip hop and stuff. And I'll give it to them. Like the number one song requested was "Boy's a Liar" by Ice Spice.
You hear the South Park version? With
I saw
with what's Butters? Oh my god! I'm gonna play that instead of hers. Maybe I'll make a segue edit where it's like half of her and then half of fucking Buster.
There's also
like oh my god, dude, it's so funny. I gotta send it to you. It's hysterical.
Speaking just because you said that, I heard somebody in a bar play Cartman's version to "Come Sail Away" by Styx.
Oh, I love that.
And I literally just like looked up and just started crying.
So back when I was video DJing, I have a video of Brian Griffin singing the Ricky Ashley joint Never Gonna Give You Up well on stage, but he's like Back to the Future stage. So he's like playing the guitar on front of the Back to the Future stage, and Peter's a background singer. It's like so
that's
funny.
Great.
And when I play it, I think Peter's dancing with Lois. Someone else is in the back. I can't remember, but I used to play it on like the big screens where I was playing.
Enchantment Under the Sea dance.
Yeah. People would go nuts, like, oh my god, like, So I used to make funny video edits like that because they would hit. You know what I mean? So like when Bruno Mars came out with 24 Karat,
yep.
He did a carpool karaoke with James Corden.
I remember.
So I made a segue where it was like normal, then it was carpool karaoke with James Corden, and then it would go back.
It cuts in, yeah.
Yeah, so I would make it like a couple quick cutaways, and I was doing this for a while. And then I got out of video DJing. And now with Wicked Wolf, I'm thinking about getting back into it.
I love it. I re-downloaded it. Like, I was doing it heavy right before COVID.
Yeah.
Stopped for obviously rare reason. And then just jumped, probably like 3 months ago, just jumped back on Smash Vision and was like bang, bang, bang.
That's
what
I like about having DMS. I can get Smash Vision for free, but it's 720 instead of 1080. But I was like, whatever, I don't really care.
Yeah.
You're not going to notice that.
Most places now, like 1080p, especially because of how big the file is, like having just 720 is fairly standard.
Yeah.
Plus, it's not going to slow you up like doing everything. Yeah. But I do like to have 1080.
I haven't tested the video yet with my new M2. I have a MacBook Air now.
It works really well. I'm sorry.
So I went from MacBook Pro to MacBook Air. Just because I know it's scary. It's very scary.
Good luck. Yeah.
Yeah, but I upgraded everything, and it's got, I want to say, like 32 RAM. It's a powerhouse for an Air. You know what I mean? It's super fast. I get a little bit of screen lag every now and then, but I think that's just because of my buffer rates are probably all out of whack.
I was told to delete your old Serato history. That would help big time.
Yeah, probably.
I didn't know that, so I had like 3 years, 4 years built up.
Some is like real smooth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But some is like, So I haven't tried downloading Mix Emergency yet because I don't use Serato Video.
Yeah.
I have it, but I don't
ME3,
use it.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I definitely use Mix Emergency. So I haven't tried it. Maybe I should try it.
I've never.
You need a refill, Kurt? I can go get the cans. You need a refill, Kurt?
I'll load up.
Up to you.
All right, I'm going to dish this question to Nader, and then we'll get into it. So, when you're not DJing, Nader, what's Nader doing? Besides, don't talk about golf yet. Something besides golf. What's Nader doing if he's not DJing and playing golf?
Okay. While you go get the Tonka teas refilled, so Kurt and I will fuel this conversation.
Go for it.
If I'm not DJing, I have another job. I work as a front-end developer for a web design and marketing company. So I build websites. I make updates to previous client websites. That's what I went to school for. So during the week, I work as a front-end developer. I love it. A job I have, it's super flexible. They understand that I DJ and my hours can be ridiculous. Back before COVID,
I loved understanding bosses.
Yeah,
I've had a bunch of those in my life.
Back before COVID, I was going into the office, and at the time, I used to live, close to my office, 20 minutes from Newtown, PA. And I would, in the summer, I used to DJ. I would say,
wait, you from that area?
No, that's just I went to school at Ryder, so it was super close. So when I was looking for jobs,
I was working at Bucks County Community College for like 7 years.
Yeah, so understanding bosses. So I would DJ at the pool on Wednesdays back when they did like Wet and Wild Wednesdays, and I would open and close, and I'd be finishing up at 3 a.m. in Atlantic City, and I would have to drive, an hour and 30 minutes, an hour 40 minutes back up to where I lived at the time, and then there's no shot I'm going into work at 9 a.m. that next day. I'm just gonna be bags under my eyes. I'm gonna be running on no sleep. So my boss is totally understanding that you DJ, and if you need that day off, you can have it. So if I'm not DJing, I'm working that job. I'm also a bit of a gamer. I've been gaming my whole life. Call of Duty 4, Halo, Apex Legends, whatever it is. I played pretty much everything. So.
Are you gaming with any other DJs?
I was gonna say you should jump on with
me. Me and Eddie have been trying to get the NHL.
Me and him
working together.
Me and him were so good.
I've been playing a lot of PGA.
Love that.
With my
I play
friends.
with Caps, and I was playing with think you were supposed to jump on one night too.
I play with him often.
Yeah, yeah. So they play every night, bro.
Yeah, they do. He's not lying.
Every night.
Yeah, I need to get in.
I stink at that game, by the way. I can't.
We haven't played together. So
I gotta download.
Cats is really good,
dude.
He's really good.
I gotta download the new Chell so Eddie and I can play.
Yeah,
I know he's if he's online, it always says
he's so
Chell,
good,
whatever.
man. Me and him used to do those threes.
Threes were a lot of fun.
Yeah, threes are good. We always have a mascot. We put him in the back, and me and him just one timer, just kill people like Merc. Like I'm talking, we went like we were during COVID. We were playing for like 8 hours straight.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what kind of guest would I be if I didn't reverse the question on you? So if you're not DJing, what is Tonka doing?
Editing these videos and audio clips. No, I'm not really doing the video. You can tell by my YouTube page. Sorry, guys, I'm really terrible. I'm working out a lot. I work out, 2 hours every day, 6 days a week, like clockwork. But just like if I can, you know what I mean. Like this weekend, I can't. I have a double Saturday, so I definitely can't. But working out, spending time with my cats, playing now. I'm hitting the range, playing golf.
Weather's been nice enough to be able to do so.
I've been.
It's finally shorts weather.
My irons are dialed in. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Love to hear that.
They're dialed in on the range. That's for sure. Then when you get on the course,
I'm telling you, I did this little hand fix for my irons, bro.
I'm listening.
I can't. I'm gonna tell you, if I hit 10 shots, 9 are pure. Like I'm not hitting the mat at all. I'm just like clear.
Right.
Yeah, watch when I go to the course. I'm gonna play like dog shit. So
you should do a Talkin with Tonka episode out on the course. It'd be cool.
So this is funny. When I had Dave and Mai on, I was thinking about doing episodes in my car.
I feel like you have so much opportunity to do whatever you want with this podcast that you've built up. So like I feel like that could be cool. Like you put the GoPros in the golf cart, like
and everybody wears like a road mic.
Yeah,
maybe?
like anything. You can take this podcast on the go with you anywhere. So like I feel like you know.
Should we do a golfing version, fellas?
Yeah, why not?
That'd be great.
Get a fourth in here.
Bring a video guy on. Like just do like a 9-hole video. We don't need. No one needs to see me hit shitty shots for 18 holes, but. That's cool.
I like this idea where you're going with this.
Anything. You got 2 GoPros here. Set them up on the golf carts. You get mic'd up. You ask questions. Ask your guest in the cart as you're driving. Like I feel like you have so many opportunities to do things with this platform that you have. That why not?
I'm liking this. So before we jump into the golf, I know now Kurt.
Yeah,
father of 2.
Thank you.
Yeah, big it up, big ups.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, no problem. Kurt, little Kurt, Caden. So let's see. I could probably tell you, besides changing diapers and feedings at 3 a.m., what are you doing in your little bit of free time?
It's all them for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Kate gives me a lot of free time to be able to be like, hey, if you want,
you're here right now.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought of that's why I asked him. I was like, how much Kurt time do I get tonight?
I'll be really honest. She's really great with that because I think she understands, or at least that I try to explain. Like, hey, listen, everything that we do together as people, as groups, is relevant. Us hanging out here is just as important as us DJing together in different places.
It's all about building relationships.
Exactly. So I think that me coming here doing the podcast, us grabbing food after we're done, us having a drink afterwards and just BSing, all of that is relevant in terms of just remembering, because tomorrow if a big nightclub like you said comes up to you tomorrow and is like, oh, I can't do this event, oh, who was I just with? I was with Nate and Kurt, and you're gonna just text the both of us and be like, hey, listen. And that's how I think a lot of, I would say at least our gigs are how we've done business over time. Now obviously the more that you do that, there's going to be regulars, but I think just a lot of what we do is done in that style of business, and I don't think everyone's really going to understand that. So the more that you stay away from that, the more that you distance yourself, the more that they're like, wow, where's so-and-so been?
Yeah.
You're not going to get them calls. And I think it's just very important to set aside some time for both family.
I don't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
And that's what I've been trying to tell these younger guys, is if there's no nights off in this game.
Absolutely.
You got to be out. You got to be seen. Because to Kurt's point, if you're not out, you're not seen, you're forgot about.
Yep.
And shout out to DJ A-Run. I barely knew the guy. Let him my lap by
A-Run, right?
A-Run's good.
A-Run. He's not a big DJ anymore. He stepped away from DJ.
I know a DJ A-Run.
No, it's A-Run.
Okay. A-Run. Gotcha.
A-Run. So barely knew the guy. Met him at Yonkers at one of the Sunday parties. Eddie Edge was DJing, and I met him that night. he was talking about how his computer just crashed, but he has gigs next week. He didn't know what to do. I'm like, yeah, I got a backup computer. I'll lend it to you. You live nearby me. Bang. Swing over. Boom.
Yep.
And then, we got to build a relationship. He's my still one of my close friends. We're a little bit out of touch recently. I've been starting to kind of get better at hitting him up. You know what I mean? He's one of those people that you don't hit me up. And I'm terrible. I'm a terrible friend sometimes, but people like Smooth and her, they call me every day.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, Nine reaches out every day. So these people I don't have to call. You know what I mean? It's like a natural thing.
It's just organic.
Yeah. So he taught me when he's like, "What are you doing?" Nothing. All right, we're out. We're going to Mint to see Ronnie D on a Sunday night.
Yeah.
I'm like, for what?
Second just right across the street from Bootleg.
Yeah. So I'm like, but going out and doing these things helped me stay in the game this many years later. You know what I mean? Yep. And I've been preaching that to Kev and Jim. Well, Jimmy kind of already goes out, but I kind of told him, you got to be out. You got to be seen. You got to be doing these things because it's just part of the life.
Correct.
And there's girls I dated that don't get that. And it's like,
yep.
So I'm glad that it's really refreshing to hear that Kate gets it.
I would certainly say that it's certainly catch-22. Like, I would say it's half and half. She's, very happy to be able to help, but at the same time, having two children, especially being with someone you're together with, it's certainly a challenge. But I think trying to constantly remind you, scheduling time to do both is incredibly important if you ever happen to do that. And I think, somebody like Montone's probably a really great example as well. He's doing the same exact thing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think just being like, okay, Monday, I'm going to be with my firstborn son, and then at nighttime, I'm going to try and take care of Caden a little bit later.
Yeah.
And then Wednesday, I'm going to go have wings. I'm going to be able to make sure that I get on the podcast and that we get some time to be able to together. And then this morning I had lunch with Smooth, and then Thursday I'm going to go work, and then Tuesday I'm going to make sure that I clean the house. So I think just the more
balance.
Exactly. The more that you can just in advance know, like, hey, listen, this is what I plan on doing, and sticking to that.
Yeah.
And just making sure that I'm putting in my 25% here, my 25% here, my 25% here. And of course you're going to have those nights where things don't work out or what's going on. I would certainly say that's the best way that I've learned, but even at that, it's still just not going to be perfect.
Yeah. Montone's episode is actually really insightful, and if you haven't listened to it, he talks about the balance, the DJ and the dad and life balance. You know what I mean? I'm learning that now is like the balance, right? Because balance is tough. It's tough. And so I've been waking up earlier and earlier. I'm at that point now where I'm up out of bed at 10 o'clock every day now, no matter what time I go to bed, which has been fantastic. Mm-hmm. Like I said on the podcast before, I went to get up at 9:30 and in here at 10. I'm in here at 10:30 now, so I'm almost on that mark of 10, which is like this morning. So I don't think I've told you guys. I started doing the bookings at Stratus. I'm going to get everybody in the mix eventually, but these first 3 months, I'm really just keeping it with the same dudes that I know they like. Mm-hmm. And then I'm hopefully after this 3 months, try probationary period that I have to do. Hopefully I get a 6-7 month contract out of it after I'm done. And then this way I'll have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and potentially Sunday bookings to spread throughout everybody and get everybody a chance. Back-to-back sets, that kind of thing. But I had to make the Stratus flyers this morning because they were, I make sure they're given to them every Wednesday. And then tomorrow, my podcast comes out. This podcast right here comes out tomorrow at 8 p.m. So that tomorrow morning, I'm editing this, creating a little description. That these kind of times now that I'm getting up earlier, I get that done, go do my workout, and then the rest of the day I'm free, which is good. I get all my, BS stuff. Like yesterday, I was doing my taxes for like 4 hours.
Still have to do mine.
Fun stuff.
What? You do file extension, I hope?
Of course I filed extension.
Yeah,
extension's filed, but...
Dude, I was ripping my hair out I was doing mine for a total of 16 hours. This is why. So I sold my car that I was writing off half of it. Mm-hmm. And when you sell it, you have to talk about depreciation of mileage, depreciation of these things. And then, how much percentage are you using it for your work? And I was like 90%. So I'm doing 90% of the values of each of these things. And then every time I go to submit it, this needs review. This needs review. And I'm like, oh my God. So it wasn't probably 16. I'm probably like overindulging, but it was a long time. I was like ripping my fucking hair out and I bleeped myself there. But it was bad. It was terrible. But let's jump into golf. You know what I mean? So Nader, I think that was the first time we really hung out. Was besides like that one time at Beach Bar. I think that was the first time you invited me and Kurt to play at your beautiful Spring Mill, Little Mill Country Club.
Mill.
It was a beautiful course. I didn't know where the fuck I was driving.
That was last year, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good old Little Mill.
And so I really appreciate you bringing me out there. It was great. So what got you into golf?
Golf has been in my family, honestly, since day one. My uncle used to be a professional golfer.
Ooh, so like Kurt.
I listened to your episode. I know you used to be a kid prodigy.
He's looking at me like
my uncle, who is my mom's brother, was a professional golfer, and we're talking about golf, but I'm getting into how my parents met. But my dad worked for the government, for the Navy, and my grandfather, who's my mom's father, they knew each other for 10 years before they dated. Okay. My uncle was playing in a golf tournament, and my grandfather reached out to my dad, who was, working with him for 10 years, and he was like, you should come meet my daughter and watch, my son play in this golf tournament. First day my parents met was them watching my uncle play in this professional golf tournament. They walked the course together. They, got to know each other out there.
And here's Nader.
So, my parents met at a golf tournament, essentially.
So it's in your blood.
I've been golfing ever since, I had a club in my hand ever since I was a little kid, growing up. Yeah, growing up, golf is definitely easier to get into when you're younger with the the fundamentals of everything.
I've been playing since I was like 15. So
yeah, it's a intimidating and kind of a tough sport to try to get into if you're older, just because you kind of see that. Damn, clubs are $1,500, $2,000. I was
playing with a Rusty Spalding set that my dad got at a garage sale for like 6 years. I was playing in my high school golf matches with it.
So I've been
fun of me all the time.
I've been golfing, all my life. I would say I'm pretty spoiled with golf. The connections that I have with my uncle, he's been in the golf industry for as long as I can remember. He manages some courses which I can go play at, and honestly, I love it. I became a member at a golf course so I can go play whenever I want. I'd go out there and play 9 holes by myself. I think it's really peaceful.
Yeah,
I think it's really peaceful. I think it's good for the mental. Just being out there by yourself. I think it's just a really good sport. Just for yourself, you know, like you can do it by yourself. Same thing with like basketball. All you need is a basketball and a hoop. All you really need to do to practice golf is a club and a golf ball. Yeah, you can do it essentially anywhere if you have the space.
I'll never forget. I got my first custom pair of cleats, and golf shoes, and I had to try them out. I had to do it. So I went over to this course around the corner here. It's a favorite of me and Kurt's because that's where he had to buy me a cheesesteak. So I was so excited.
Sorry,
I played.
Smooth's texted me. I was like, oh my God.
What was he doing?
I'll talk to you later about it. Okay. Going on the podcast.
Little dirt.
No, it's not like that. No.
Yeah, I'll FaceTime that
fucker.
It's
just unfun stuff.
I was going to say, I'll FaceTime him right now. That'd be cool.
Do it.
Dude. You want me to do it? All right. So we'll flip that to Kurt real quick. So Kurt,
tell him I can't text him back by doing that.
So Kurt, have you put a club in little Kurt's hands yet?
Yeah, we have. He's not interested in golfing. He's interested in taking the balls and putting them in the basket and then dumping them out and then redoing that.
So it's basically what?
Yeah. I do have some pictures of him.
I called him. Here he is, guys.
Smooth.
He's here.
What's up, cuz?
He said he can't text you back, Smooth. He's on
I already
my podcast.
Did,
Put it up close to the microphone. So
sorry. Smooth, do you want to say hi to the crowd?
Talking to you on your podcast.
What's that?
Hi, no one.
Wow. I was going to invite you to wings, but now I'm not.
I could eat.
That was the first time I ever FaceTimed somebody. So
really?
Yeah, on the podcast. Yeah, it was the first
time. On the podcast. I thought you meant just like I just.
Yeah, in general, I've never FaceTimed. So
I can't believe he said hi, nobody.
Yeah, I know that's messed up, man. He's it's a tough love. Look at him, he's crying.
Nader listens.
Yeah, Nader's
dude, I'm a huge podcast guy.
Inviting you on was like it was natural. I think I was talking to Grizz about it. I was like, I need a guest for this week, and then she was like, what are you thinking about? I was like, you know what? I'm going to have Kurt. I want to ask Kurt to co-host and have you on because you always send in the pictures in the chat like that you're listening. And I love seeing that. And I know I reached out to you. I was like, yo, post it on Instagram and tag me because like the more people see it, the more people are like, oh man, I need to check that out. And I love what you're doing now. The vlog thing.
Thank you.
The recaps, that's sick.
That actually started from us when we did the when Kurt Cade was born, and we were all talking about social media. I was like, man, I should really just take a second. And by the way, for the both of you, it's not as difficult as it probably seems. So
I know it's not. I was making reels.
recommend.
I was making reels for Instagram forever, so I totally get it. But what you're doing, love it.
Yeah,
thank you.
With like the recaps, and I want to give a shout out to Martin, because I was he was the first person that I kind of saw. You know, all it takes is you being out at your DJ gig and just getting some footage, and then just doing a voiceover on it. You know, like, it's so easy for us to be able to do that and kind of give people a look kind of into what goes into DJing.
It's a realistic idea.
You know, it's not just DJing, and that's kind of what, like, people say that like anybody can be a DJ. You're not just playing music. You're like the first person at a private event. You're walking into sometimes a full room of people, and you need to go right into whatever. And like, one thing I wanted to say about just like, you're not just a DJ, and a good example is with Kurt. And you may take this a little weird, how the way that the verbiage that I use, but it'll come full circle, is that Kurt, as just a DJ, does not get poor decisions at Barstool.
Right.
Kurt, as just being a DJ, that opportunity never comes.
Yeah.
Kurt, as being a DJ and, you know, having personality and being, you know, good with the staff and the bartenders and everything, that is what gets you opportunities.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're not just a DJ. You have to be a people person. You have to go into these venues. The first thing I do if I'm playing at a venue that I haven't been at before, can I speak to a manager? Hi, my name is Nate. It's my first time playing here. Can you guys just give me, like, you know, a little rundown, yada, yada, yada. That gig goes that gig goes well, you know, you're likely going to get booked back. But if you walk into a place and you just go to the DJ booth and you play for 4 or 5 hours, you don't talk to anybody, and you go home, you're probably... I mean, depending on how good of a DJ you are, you're probably not getting booked back. You know, a lot of DJing is being personable, and how you handle song requests, how do you talk to the staff. You know, so, you know, that's why I say props to you, because like I said, Kurt is just a DJ, doesn't get those opportunities.
Kurt's social media game is good.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're really good.
One thing that I've noticed is, ever since day one when I've been following you, is that you always have a flyer no matter where you're playing.
Thanks, man.
And that's
smart.
And that's, like I said, you're not just a DJ. You're in Photoshop. You're making your flyers. You're, you know, posting, you know, on Instagram. You're making those vlog videos for stuff. So like Kurt's a great example of how, you know, you're not just a DJ, you're a business.
Yeah, it really is. And that's thank you very much for the compliment. I really do appreciate it. But you're 100% right. And that's another thing, like, just talking to my fiance about, is like, hey, listen, everything I do is for my business, but I mean it in a positive manner. Nothing will ever get between us in terms of any of that. But if I stay an extra hour later, it's because I want to be like, hey, how's everybody doing? How's your parents? I just seen on Facebook. Like, it's just spending 10 minutes with each individual and just being like, it's great to catch up. You did a really great job.
I noticed that. So much I was waiting for you to leave. You were hugging every bartender. I'm like, what are you doing, bud?
Yeah.
Dude, so with DJing,
I do one of these. Hey guys, thanks for having me. I'll see you guys later.
I think that I try and make sure it doesn't. And we're using Barstool as an example because of the party or whatever it might be. But I try and do my best job without making anyone feel uncomfortable, to just say goodbye and like, hey, I saw you on a trip this weekend. Hope it was a great time, like, blah, blah, blah. And again, I get a lot of, like, you know, even my brother tells me, he's like, dude, everyone tells me, like, you're a really nice guy. And I'm like, we're, you know, obviously related. But I think
you guys are related?
Yeah. I think just more or less is that really does separate you at the end of the day, because if somebody does hear something, like, if somebody said something about you that I just wouldn't believe, I'm like, that does not sound like Tonka. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So I hope that everything,
but in the back of your head, that's definitely Tonka.
That's I think just more or less is that exactly, is just trying to develop enough of a character to where it's obvious that, like, I'm going to try and put my best foot forward. I'm going to try and have the best integrity I can moving through it, and just thanking everyone for coming out, because to be honest with you, I do feel very lucky. Yeah. I feel like, you know, obviously there's a lot of things that are put in play, but like Nate said, and again, not to, you know, pat myself on the back or anything. You need a lot of stuff to go right.
Yeah.
In order for you, and it needs to be consistent. And if you're not consistent about things, the next person's ready to step up and take that job from you.
Facts.
So it's very important to stay like that. And I think just whoever is listening and is like, what can I do? It's just like start right now and then continue to be
just as stay consistent. Relevant.
Yeah,
man.
stay as consistent as you can.
So people, you know, they hate on me. They used to. I don't really do it too much anymore because I'm in that weird body dysmorphia stage that I'm going through, but I used to post gym pictures all the time. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people are like, oh, thirst trap, blah, blah, blah. But I have gotten so many DMs from guys and girls saying, thank you for posting this because it motivated me to go to the gym today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I go early in the day, so people see it throughout the day and they're like, yo, I wasn't going to go to the gym today. I saw your post. It really motivated me to go.
Yeah.
So a lot of people think I'm doing it for their first thirst trap, but I'm doing it for two reasons. To motivate Joe Schmo that may be watching my story, or, you know, 2 years from now, it's going to come up in my memories and I'll be like, oh, wow, I really did transform my body. You know what I mean? So
you've had a crazy transformation, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I remember, like, the Tonka that I, like, first knew.
Yeah.
That I think, like, when I was seeing was, like, long hair, backwards hat, glasses, driving a
XB.
A cube with green rims. Not to knock the green rims at all, but like dude, props to you because you that was the Tonka that like I kind of like first knew, and like this.
I have a video of when Kurt lost to me with a cheesesteak that I was so fat, bro. I was fat. That was an extra large polo. We're like chugging Twisted Teas all full of sugar. I'm like, bleh. And like Kurt's like, Kurt was jacked at the time. I think you were working at Sweat.
No, that might have been a little bit like just after that time.
Yeah,
like
but you were working out consistently.
But once the DJing really picked up like big time, it was tough to be able to maintain both.
Yeah.
So that was really I don't want to be like, oh, I didn't go to the gym, but really it was just at my time I like had converted.
That video comes up on my like Snapchat memories, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, why did I let myself get like that? But now that's why the pictures are important, right?
100%.
So it's very important. So like when I was going through that whole transformation, like social media, you know, that's what really got me into social media is the positive feedback that I was getting. So now with the DJing platform, with the Phillies and all these things, I'm forever posting on stories, right? Story.
Yeah,
my grid kind of slacks a little bit, but
I don't think I've ever gone to your Instagram page and you haven't had a story up. Like, for instance, like with me, like if I look, I can almost guarantee, you know, I don't have anything up on my story. But with you, like you're always...
I post my whole life on that.
Yeah, and that's like... good. That's the way it should be. Yeah. The one thing on my story is me advertising the Talking with Tonka podcast. And that was, you know, that's the only thing you can find on my feed right now. And like that should change. You know, like
I've noticed that your flyer game has been stepping up a lot.
A little bit. I'll make like little like video edits on my phone to promo a lot of my gigs. I don't make my own flyers.
Yeah.
But like I try to promo as best as I can if I have like 3 Philly gigs in a row.
Yeah,
you know?
Like my rundowns I make on Photoshop Express on my phone.
Yeah,
like dude, on the toilet at the gym.
You can run a whole business off your phone. It's powerful stuff.
It's amazing, man, what you can do with your phone.
The video, like the camera quality is better than, you know.
So I was just having a conversation with Stateside because they're, you know, I'm trying to get them in this one venue. I just did a takeover party with them, and they didn't share any of my stuff from that night, like none of it. And I told them, I was like, the guy that books me there, I'm not going to drop names and stuff, but I was like, he really likes to see the social media push, and you guys gave me none of it. But you'll post Jessica down the shore on the beach with her Surfside cam, but you won't share the Tonka times Stateside sign and stuff like that. I'm like, you got to share that stuff.
Yeah.
But you know where the problem is? They don't have a full-time social media person. So the person seeing it the next day doesn't see it, but doesn't think it's relevant.
If you tried to do the collaboration thing, maybe you post it yourself, and then that would help.
Well, this is stories.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's where I'm like, they don't have a social media person. So, but that's where they slack, right? They don't think they need it, but you need it.
Yeah,
social media is a powerful tool.
100% agree.
There's something that I see on your Instagram where you'll like reshare someone's post, and it will have like it'll have like courtesy on there, and then like
that's
under
a new
it,
thing. Yeah,
and like under it, it'll have like whoever originally posted it.
Yeah, so like I did that with yours. It's full screen.
Yeah, instead of like you taking, you know, like 75% of the screen or whatnot. Let me see.
Yeah, so if you reshare like someone that tagged you in something, if you double tap the picture, it should go full screen, and it'll do the same thing.
Yeah, I think a lot of people. Well, I wouldn't say a lot of people, but most people don't notice top left-hand side. It'll see where it's originally from.
Right. So someone thought someone stole my phone before it was posted videos. I was like, no, I was resharing those because they didn't know about that feature.
Give it a week, people are like, oh, it's from another person. You know what I mean? And then you'll see it double posted. I do too because it looks cleaner. So I think it looks much better.
Zooming it out and like that kind of
thing.
And
it just looks like the regular video from wherever it's at. And if you're, I don't want to say if you're smart enough, but as time goes on, you'll begin to see, and I'm sure they'll probably get a better way to be able to see where you reposted it from. But I just think it's a cleaner way. I'm not going to back up. I'm going to be like, I like this aesthetic a lot better, and I'm just going to continue to do it that way, regardless of whoever. And to be honest with you, like if I ever repost anything, most of the time I try, like if I know that it's coming from somewhere else, I usually write like CC or DJ Tonka or something like that. So that way they feel like they're getting the credit if I'm sharing something that isn't necessarily something I'm involved in.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah, I want to touch on one thing with that. Like, you know, with us being DJs when we're going into these venues and we're playing, you know, it's pretty hard sometimes to get content on based on like the room you're playing and stuff. So I'll say one thing: if you're like a patron at a bar or a club, or even if you're like like wanting to get into DJing and you're out and about, I can almost guarantee you like 90% of the time, if I am DJing out somewhere and somebody tags me in a post of me DJing and like showing the crowd, I'm like 100% posting that because as a DJ,
I reshare pretty much 90% of what people tag me in.
Yeah, like as a DJ, like sometimes it's tough to get content whenever you're in some of these places. So like I said, if you're going out and like supporting your friends, like for instance, like if Kurt is DJing at Barstool and like I'm off and I'm there, like I'm going up to the booth and like if he's about to do like an EDM drop, like I'm getting my phone out and I'm capturing that for him. Yeah, you know, I'm putting it on my feed, but like I'm doing it for him. You know, like
so. To your point, when I see someone of my friends behind me with a video, I'm like, yeah, before you write anything on that, save it and send it to me. Yeah. Before you write anything. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because it's always good to have those in your bag just in case you want to do a recap and stuff like that. Because I've been in those nights where I'm in my bag, like especially downstairs at Barstool. I don't have time to look at my phone.
No. Somebody, I heard this on a podcast, like DJing, and I'll have to go up and look and see where I heard it exactly because it's a great quote. But DJing is like playing Tetris on level 10 for 4 hours straight. Yeah. You know, it's constant. Boom, boom. Like some edits you play are a minute and 30 seconds. You know, you got to have that song lined up immediately. And in that time frame, you know, I can't like load up a song, mix, pull out my phone, get a video, put it down. It's very tough as a DJ to be able to capture some of that content sometimes. So, you know, if you're out and about, take some videos of us playing. Like, most of the time, we're going to repost you. 90% of the time.
Yeah, and especially, like I said before, if you're a friend of ours and you're listening to this, save it before you write anything on it. And then... you know,
give me the original.
Yeah, I would like the original without your stupid caption, so I don't have to write over it. And so I you know, I'm pretty good at sharing things. Kurt, you're pretty good at sharing things. Nate, you share your stuff too. So do you care what people are writing on it? I mean, certain things you obviously you want to, you know.
Yeah, so like without a doubt, most of the time, like if somebody posts a story where I'm out at a club or something, I'm likely not looking at it until after I'm done. Yeah. And I'll listen to it and look at it and
so
I'll see if like you know, if this is something that I want to put out there. Sometimes like I'm like barely in it. Like it really depends, you know. I would say, like I said, 90% of the time, if you're at a venue that I'm at and you're tagging the venue and you're tagging me, I'm like 90% of the time reposting that.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I'll share anything.
So sorry, this thing is like being weird now with this camera, but so it's funny you say that because man, this is really messing me up between hitting the space bar over here and this camera. But Kurt. So are you? Do you care what people are like writing on posts when they share it?
I certainly think so.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that I'm not encouraging people to repost. You want to post anything that encourages people to come out and see me? Feel free to do so. But I'm definitely going to
censor it.
Decide like what it is that I'm reposting.
So it's funny that you say you don't touch your phone while you're DJing. If someone's capturing me in during a scratch intro or something, I'm not reposting that till after the night where I could hear it.
Yes, yeah. 100%.
Like I'm not posting it because we all want to sound clean, right?
Yeah.
So I'm making sure my transition was clean on that, like doing these things because I was like, oh man, I'm not gonna be the first person that gets put up on like some kind of meme because like, oh, listen to this guy scratch.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that too. I mean, there's definitely been like fair share of moments where a mix or like a tone play transition was one semitone off or like you messed up. And, I do take that into consideration. That's something that I don't post because it kind of, and, I encourage, being hands-on and having fun at your gig. But, that's something, for instance, where you were saying, like, if you were scratching and, like, it wasn't clean and it didn't sound good, that, like, I'm probably not reposting that.
Okay.
But, like, I encourage DJs to get creative and have fun when they're out there. But
Kurt, are you waiting to listen to certain things before you post it?
I've never heard him do a bad scratch before. He's one of the best, like, fundamentally scratching DJs that I've seen.
Whenever just piping me up this whole career.
Dude, I'll pump your tires. Whenever what's your PSI on the car you get out there?
37.
I'll pump them out for you. Like whenever I see him DJ, I'm constantly like, I would say most of the time when I see you in the booth, we're like 95% of the time talking about DJing.
100%. I was going to compliment on that.
And like I'm asking questions because I look up to him in terms of being very good at being fundamentally scratching and everything.
Yeah.
And that's something that I strive to be able to do. So I'll watch him whenever he's doing, and then when the time is right, whenever he's out of the mix or the scratch and, he goes back on to look for a song, I'll say like, hand placement or, whatever it may be,
Too high, too low, this, that, the other.
Okay, so since you're a faithful listener and we're getting pretty deep here in time-wise, you know that I always have the guests come in and ask me a question, like usually one or two questions. So what I'm going to throw to you, since you look up to Kurt, is there any questions you want to ask Kurt, and is there anything you want to ask me? Ooh, putting you on the spot. This is how I know if they listen.
Why don't you think of it, and I'll give you my response to what you were going to say.
Well, I feel like the number one question I feel like a lot of people ask is like the 5-10 year plan or whatever. But I think you've touched on that, and that you want to do radio.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's a goal of yours.
What about Kurt? I know, like, since you look up to Kurt, is there anything?
Yeah, but I want to get a question. I don't want to ask him a question. I want you guys to answer both the same question.
Oh, okay. I like that. Ooh, two different perspectives. Yeah, why don't you sit on that there?
What's your favorite song right now?
Oh, God.
What's your favorite song right now? Not to play for people. What is your favorite song right now?
Oof.
Or if I go into your Spotify, what's your first song on your Spotify that you have favorited or liked right now? Pull it up. What do you got? Let me see.
Oh, how do I do that? How do I do
You have Spotify? You
Yeah.
use Spotify? Go to Spotify, go to your like tracks, and what's the first one on there?
What are you going to library?
Yep.
Like songs. First song.
First one.
Vindicated. Dashboard Confessional.
There you go. Kurt, what's yours?
You're not going to like mine because mine's is like 500 things.
You want to hear my top three? My top three. Second one, Kryptonite, 3 Doors Down. Number 3, Lightning Crashes by Live. Do you know that song?
No.
Lightning crashes and no father dies. That was actually pretty good.
Mine's all tech house stuff. I'm really big into the house stuff. That's the reason why I want to throw the party. There's a ton, dude. There's too many to name. There's the Saturday Love one, which is old school song. If you remember, it was like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I used to love that song. I loop Thursday when we do the Poor Decisions party for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Big fan of Michael Sparks, which is like more bass house stuff. I listen to a lot of stuff that is on YouTube of them breaking down how they make it, because last time we talked about it, I've been slacking on the production stuff, but like it's still like just I feel like I'm very in the interesting, the same way that it was with DJing. Everything feels relevant. I'm just watching on YouTube like, oh, that's how you do this. That's how you do. Here's how you zoom in. You know what I mean? Like it's all of it feels relevant. I think I'm just a slow learner, and I think a lot of it is just like, me really being interested in learning and doing all that.
I'm going to use this as a thing for now when I bring people on.
What's your first
spot?
Just like
the top 3.
Just like whatever your last liked song on Spotify was.
So that might have been. How does that work? Is that like my first song? So
if you just
I scroll all the way to the bottom, it's Bush Glycerine.
No. So like if you go into like your library and you go to liked songs,
I did
whatever the last liked song that you have on your Spotify.
Oh, so that okay.
How many do you guys have?
1,130.
Yeah, it sounds about right. I was gonna say mine's is like 693 or so.
93?
Yeah.
So
do you not favorite songs?
No.
Yeah, you should, especially for your sets and stuff.
Oh, here's
just like what you like and go back to everything.
1 a.m. Meek Mill.
1 a.m. is a banger.
Yep.
Yeah, dude. I'm constantly.
There's a reason why mine is the way it is, though. So when I started the pop punk party, I didn't know you could like songs and they would go to things. I would just play Spotify playlists. I was liking playlists, so that's how I was doing it. But then I would like pop punk songs just so I can put them in a library and then add them to my own playlist.
We all do that, or at least I can confirm.
So now that I know that is a thing,
100%.
Love that.
Any songs that you like on Spotify, and you go onto like playlists, it'll like curate a mix based off of the songs that you've liked, and it will give you like similar artists for stuff, and like that'll open up like a lot of new music for you to play.
Tonka exclusive. If you didn't know this,
yeah, dude,
there's a like song category on Spotify.
If we're gonna end up good, can I compliment him? Because I feel like
you're a co-host. You can do whatever you want.
All right, cool. I didn't want to disrupt the conversation of Spotify because I also love Spotify. I also recommend if you're on Apple Music to switch to Spotify. I don't get sponsored by Spotify, but I think if 3 DJs are in the same room saying like, "Hey, you should make the switch," there's probably a reason for that.
Yeah.
What I just wanted to say at some point, I thought it would come up, but I felt like it was at some point. But just to say, like, Nate is someone who is not there to be drunk. So he is not someone who's there to meet women or do it. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure everybody has who they like or whatever. But there is a thing that I think that most people don't. I don't want to say have, but I can definitely name 2, 3, maybe 4 people in total that you can just tell that they're there for the music. And if you're not there for the music, and this is kind of similar, what you're like, are you checking what's blah blah blah? I'm letting everyone have everything unedited, knowing what I'm about because I'm not hiding who I am or how I'm DJing or like scratching this, that, the other thing. If I mess up, so what? I mess up and I'm able to let it roll off of my back. And I think having that confidence within yourself is really what is developmental in me. I'm not, everything is just playing. I feel like I'm enjoying myself. I'm having a good time.
Like your live Gardendale set, I complimented you.
Thank you.
3 times.
You're like texting me like I'm Shazamming this.
I'm like Shazamming it on my watch as I'm listening in my car.
What I was going to say about Nate is every time that I meet him, he always has a question to ask, which I love about that. So it's not just about like, can I have this song? It's always like, why did you do this way? How did you do this way? Like sometimes he's hitting load on the button that he shouldn't.
Yeah, one time.
One time at band camp.
Yeah.
One time, Kurt, he had his S11 mixer in front of him, and I was just like noticing the differences between the S9 and the S11, and I'm like, these load buttons are a lot bigger than how they are on the S9, and I accidentally pressed it.
You never touch another DJ's buttons.
Whatever he had playing, instantly stopped, and it went into like an intro 16-bar version of whatever song was on there. Oof. So it was like, I'm good, yeah, I'm feeling it
might not even been the time to play it.
And I was like, I looked at him and I was like, I am so sorry. And he couldn't stop laughing.
Yeah.
That's the personality that you have to have. Like, he's like, it's whatever, dude. Like, whatever.
Yeah. I'm being dead honest. There have been nights like where people come up to me, I'm trying to pay attention, you like want to mix the thing. Like you could literally pull the whole volume down, everyone's staring at me, I'm not uncomfortable. And I think you need to get to that point because I'm not saying you get what I'm trying to say. Like, I think if everyone can just be comfortable enough to be themselves, to not feel uncomfortable at any moment, you can truly be your best self. So maybe if I'm 12th in the city, 15th in the city in comparison to, a Sat One at Bennis, Martin, or whatever, people who I think are one of the Nate, yourself, like I really think there are a lot of people who do a great job within what it is that they do. I mean, who's going to cut over Sat and be like, everyone's going to bow down? I think Martin and Nico are probably one of the more like, yo, let's go, let's get it. And I love that about what they do. I mean, for Nate, I know he's super clean. He's going to pick great songs. He's going to do. So I think everyone
we all have our niches.
Exactly.
And lanes. Yeah.
And I think if you think of it in that manner, that, you don't have to be on the mic to be the best DJ. I think you can use the mic and really emphasize what it is that you're doing. Yeah. But really, dig into what you're really good at. I'm sorry if I'm getting like super loud doing this, but I think if you dig into what you're really good at and what you're interested in, you'll begin to really develop and, get to that better point where you're starting to hear those compliments of like, you really do this really well. When in reality, maybe you were kind of like, I don't know if I should do this. I'm not sure if blah, blah, blah. So I think that the more I get the compliments, the more I'm just like trying to double down on that and do,
I love the compliments.
Oh, dude. So people are so nice.
It makes everything worth it.
100%. It's as good as getting paid, in my opinion.
You coming up to me after a private event or like even at a bar and they just come up and they're just like, yo, man, like I just wanted to tell you, like you're dope. Like I'm like, oh, thank you, dude. Like that stuff right there.
It's a great compliment, especially
like
from the security guards.
Yeah, like that like makes my night. It's the little things as being a DJ that can make driving in.
I'm not going to lie. When you posted
it.
all the text mess conversations from Poor Decisions, I was like, I don't think that's ever happened to me. So I'm happy for you, man.
Thank you. I appreciate that. People are, like I said, people are very nice. And I think it's just, another thing is, too, people know I'm going to post it. So I think that's another determining factor. But again, there are a lot of people who are like, wow, we really didn't expect to have a good time. And like I said, there's nothing more important than the music. So I'm not going to stop like whatever I'm doing.
People short. They short entertainment. And, that's one thing you cannot short. What keeps people in the bar? Entertainment.
Yeah, and just be humble in whatever way. Say thank you, appreciative. But you're right. It can be tough to not like want to let it creep in, but you just can't. You got to curb that. You got to be thankful. You got to really. But I think that at the core of me, when I was first coming in, it wasn't like that. It was, we talked about this in the previous podcast.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it gatekeeping, but we had the players that were in, and I'm like, man, I don't know if I'm going to fit in. And now I feel as if now it's a lot more welcoming, and I'm like, I just fit in because that's who I naturally am. And I feel like if it changes again, I might not. I might struggle a little bit because I'm not standoffish in a lot of ways. I'm more willing to be like, like maybe you're not the best, but you should get a shot. Like, what I mean? Because maybe they become somebody who was like, yo, you were the first person to really put me on. And then if that person remembers you and they end up DJing at the next so-and-so, yo, you helped me out. I want to make sure that I help you out. You know what I mean? So I think I'm trying to see those kids that are coming up now who are like, this guy helped me. He's a great person. This, that, the other. I would like to be.
That's why
that.
What if I get the second opportunity that I'm hoping I get with Stratus is like I'm going to eventually be able to pay those people back. That
exactly.
Had me throughout the entire.
Hey, listen, take a Wednesday. Take a Friday, take a Saturday, whatever.
Exactly.
It might be. I think that's a wonderful way to look at it. And I think we were talking about this earlier in the podcast, I think we need a quote-unquote arcade. I think we need an area to hang out. I think we need meetups. I think the best thing that we can do for the culture is give back to it, because I feel like we're, as every year goes on, everyone keeps talking about like, these kids don't get it, like this, that, the other thing. It's like, well, what are we doing about it? You know what I mean? So I think that's the one thing. If I had an opportunity, it would be able to have a space where people can have a club championship, where people can, I'm not saying that we would teach people, but I think just more or less is like an area where people can show off and have fun and enjoy themselves. And I think if we had that time to be able to do it, that people would. That. Yeah, I think so too. And you can have the podcast there. Nate can show off like the new scratch he's been messing with. I think just having that would really develop, I think, more people to encourage to be a part of it. Whether or not you have the best is this, that, the thing. But imagine some 15-year-old kid wins it 2-3 times in a row, and then the next thing you know, he gets to DJ at so-and-so when he turns 18, 21. You know what I mean? I think that's what I would really like to do if I had the money, and I think of my own children in the same sense. But I hope that whatever it is that you decide to do or I decide to do, that you're just put everything into it, man. Just it's very hard to be like, I'm just going to unapologetic, because everyone doesn't want to get judged.
Yeah.
But I think that the more that you do it, the better that, the easier
that's insightful,
it comes.
Man. I like that.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
No, that's actually
I had two Tonka teeth on.
Blame it on the teeth.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good spot to wrap it up. I appreciate you guys coming in. Nate, thank you for making the trip. I know it's not a short one.
Absolutely.
Kurt, great co-host. I'm definitely going to have
I'll be in season 2, 3.
Yeah. He's going to be a regular here.
Everyone's going to get sick of hearing that.
I have my buddy Benny that's going to do it every once in a while. I like the co-host aspect. It really takes a lot of the pressure off me. I like it.
Yeah, three people in the room is a lot better than 2. You just kind of like bounce off each other.
Yeah, and I think, eventually once I get more money, maybe I'll get a 4th mic. Actually, I have a 4th mic, and I have a 4th input. So maybe one day I'll get like a round table, like of DJs, and we just.
I think it would be a good idea.
Yeah, maybe that'll be part of that meetup thing. Maybe we'll do a Talkin with Tonka meetup Like
you should.
A summer send-off kind of deal.
Yeah, I'll talk to you after a couple some ideas. I don't want to stop everybody.
Yeah, I love that. Okay.
Before you cut it, can I just do a little outro words of wisdom, DJ Nader
Let's
style?
do it. Nader style. Let's go.
Right. Any DJs, interested in coming up on the scene? I've been DJing for about 8-9 years now. There's some things that I wish I knew in the beginning that could really, help and benefit you guys. One thing is that practice makes progress. Practice doesn't make perfect.
Makes progress.
In DJing, you can never be perfect at DJing.
Nope. Yep.
There is always new music to come out. There is always new ways to get creative for your sets. So practice makes progress, and always be practicing that stuff. The other thing I will say is you have to play the game. If you're trying to play at a venue, you're not going to play at that venue by sending an email or Instagram messaging somebody. Go out and see them in person.
Thank you.
Talk to the DJs that are playing there now. Mm-hmm. And, I'll just put this out there right now. If anybody ever has any questions for me about DJing or anything, don't hesitate to reach out because, I am here to be able to give my insight on what I've learned in this industry, throughout the past 8-9 years that I've been DJing. So, practice makes progression. Play the game, go out, see some DJs, talk to some DJs, and I just want to thank you so much for having me on. It's came full circle from listening to your episodes.
I really like what you just said, because now that I have this opportunity to book people, someone, I'm not going to name a name, he's not from here, but he reached out to me in an email about open dates in June. I don't know this guy from Adam. He didn't introduce himself, didn't do anything, just thought I was going to give him a date because he used to play there. Told him there was no availability. What about July? Sorry, man, I have my group of guys. If something comes up, I'll holler at you. And then he made an introductory email after I blew him off twice. If he would have led with the introductory email, the full spiel, where he came from, blah, 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 I probably would have booked him. But now I'm not going to book him, especially because the venue told me not to. But I would have probably booked him one time just because he introduced himself properly.
Yep, manners matter.
The first thing that you should never talk to anybody about, a manager or someone that handles venues. You should never talk about booking the opportunity to book me at that place on your first meeting. You should get to know the person. I'm saying in this industry, a lot of the times, opportunities will come day of. Like for instance, there was an opportunity for a gig for this weekend where, we got reached out to, and it was like, I need a DJ here,
Happened today.
Yeah, literally today. Like those opportunities are going to come if you're just there. So don't ask for the gigs. Come out and support. And if you're a good, decent guy, and I've seen your content and you can spin, I'm gonna be like, what about that? Like that, I've seen that guy. He's grinding. He's working. Give him a shot. And that one opportunity makes the world of a difference for quote unquote bedroom DJ who's looking for that gig. So, yeah.
All right. Well, this is a good spot to wrap it up. Thank you guys both for coming. This has been Talkin' with Tonka, episode 15. So whenever this video gets up on YouTube, because this camera died during Nate's spiel, I apologize, but to this camera on the bottom of my screen, at Talkin' with Tonka on Instagram. My personal Instagram is at DJ Tonka _, and the person that you can't see, but I'm pointing at him, so I'll put it with my finger. It'll say DJ Courtesy. You want to spell it?
Kurteousy.
Yeah, I probably could have got that. And then pointing, I'll put it under here. DJ Nader, DJ Nater.
You got it.
Boom, look at that. So episode 15, thank you guys for tuning in. Next week, I forget who I have on, but I have someone. So, I'm terrible.
Wow, what an intro to next week's
episode. Where are you at this weekend?
Where am I at this weekend? Barstool Parlay, Friday. Phillies game during the day, Saturday. Lead in the Swan Saturday night. Phillies game again on Sunday.
Word.
What about you guys?
Friday.
Without looking at your schedule, where you at?
This weekend I got
Friday I'm 100% at Wicked Wolf. I know that for a fact. Sunday I know I'm in Atlantic City at Nola's and at Oceans Casino.
But Saturday you're drawing a blank.
Might be 10th and Willow. I don't know.
Okay. Kurt?
This week I'm doing private events only for God knows what reason. I know it just happened to be the week that you brought me in. The following week, though, I'm at Barstool on Thursday. Friday, I'm at 10th. And then I'm doing Parlay again on Saturday.
Love that.
That's exciting.
I got it. It's Friday, Wicked Wolf. Saturday's Atlantic City at Ocean Casino, and Sunday's off. So,
so you had it was this day was flop.
Yeah.
Thank y'all for tuning in. Catch you guys next week.
Peace.
See you guys.